to Unsigned518. I am here with the William Deuel Band. And I guess what we'll do is we'll start over here to my left and just introduce yourself and what you do in the band.
All right. How's everyone doing? My name is Bernie Durfee. I play bass in the band. Been with the band for a little over a year now, right? A little over a year. Joined and on a couple songs that are out and coming out. So yeah, bass player, stander arounder. Try and move a little bit and just keep my fingers moving. That's it.
I'm William Deuel. I named the band after my name. I'm the guitar player, songwriter, and vocalist. When I first started the band, it was only me. And I was writing songs, so that's why it's named the William Deuel Band, because there was nobody else in the band. But I was playing all the different instruments, so I had to give it a band name, therefore the explanation as to why I use my name.
I'm Chris Reed. I play drums.
All right, short and sweet.
Chris is also also records all our music and mixes all our music.
Yeah, that's kind of important.
And he also owns the Glens Falls Music Academy.
Oh, no way.
And he also does sound at the Park Theater. And he also does sound at the Wood. So,
and the drums.
And the drums.
And you're like, I just play the drums. Yeah. So I guess what we want to do, we were talking a little bit before we got rolling. Clearly it's a story behind every band, but I guess we want to go and William, if you want to take the lead on it, kind of tell the story of how it evolved from a one-man band to what it is today.
It's kind of a complicated story, but the shortish version of it is, my mom died of cancer 10, 12 years ago, and then my grandmother died of cancer, and then I was going through all these different things. I used to I trained racehorses for a living. That's what I did for over 20 years. I rode and trained thoroughbred racehorses. And then my best friend died, and it was kind of an ugly situation, and I got very depressed. And I had played drums in a band in high school, and then after high school I didn't play anything at all. When this happened, I was just sitting on my couch playing this $20 acoustic guitar that wouldn't stay in tune and just teaching myself to play, and in the process just started writing some very simple songs and putting them on the computer onto, what is it I use?
You were using GarageBand.
Yeah, GarageBand. Right?
And just your wife's laptop.
Right, on the Mac.
This goes record. I'm going to use
and it was just like, oh, wow, that doesn't sound bad. And I was going through this whole thing, and I was just sitting there strumming. And anyone who's been depressed knows that's kind of what you do. You just kind of exist for a little while. And this really seemed to help me. It helped me a lot. And I took these tapes that I had, these CDs I made of these very simple songs, and I took them to Chris in Glens Falls. And I said, my initial thing was to just work them up and see if I could get them to sound better. Chris convinced me that they were worth working on. And that's when I started working with Chris at the Glens Falls Music Academy and made my first record, which was an LP, which was 8 songs. I played everything on it, including bass. I'd never played a bass before or anything. Wrote all the songs, did all the vocals. I had one friend of mine from high school, a very good friend of mine who played in my high school band and worked on a couple tracks on guitar. And those songs actually did very well. They actually went to #1 on some internet radio stations. The first song I wrote went to #1.
Wow.
Well, don't forget, you got to give Tim Cook credit for drums.
Yeah, I was using Apple drums. Apple drums.
That confused me first. I was like, why does that name sound familiar?
Apple drums, yeah. Because I did play drums, but in the process of teaching myself guitar, I couldn't go back to drums again. One thing at a time. And then, actually, I did. I was going to play drums, and I had asked Chris to play drums on some of the records. And he was kind of like, I want to be in the control room. I went out and bought a drum set and started playing drums again. I went in to do a track, and it was so bad. He went in and did it, and he's been playing drums for us ever since.
Was that like 6 years ago or something?
Yeah, it was 5-6 years ago. It was like, it's hard to find people to play, that have time, and especially as you get older, everybody's got children or things to do, or other, whatever it might be, and to try and lock it down. So it took me a while to get everything kind of locked down. I did, I went through some bass players before we got to Bernie, Jason Brown, who owns Starling Studios,
who was just on on the podcast, sitting right where you're sitting. He was here 2 weeks ago. His
Jason
episode
was doing
comes out
all
soon,
our
yeah.
mastering, and Jason
All
played
right.
bass on my second LP, Moment in Time. He played all the bass parts.
Okay.
I know Jason through his father. My wife works at Skidmore. I know her father, who was in the music department, and that's how I met Jason. And he has his own thing. And I'm not currently using him now. He went on to a big podcast that he was doing, and he didn't. And that worked out kind of because we have Jack Andino doing our mastering now of Nirvana,
Oh, all right.
Pearl Jam,
Wow.
and all those guys.
Wow.
That
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah. So he's doing all our mastering on our
How,
song. How did I get him?
Yeah.
I just called him.
really?
Yeah.
Hey, Jack.
Right? I'm not kidding.
Hey,
I just
Jack, what's happening?
and he was very one of the nicest people in the music business I've ever met in my life, and he's just wonderful with me. Just wonderful.
And you just called him.
I sent him a note, and he sent me back. He won't work on anything unless he hears something you've done previously.
Okay.
And I sent him 2 of our songs off, and he was like, "Yeah, no problem. Send them right over." So every time I lost Jason, but I gained Jack Andino.
Wow.
He actually wanted us to go out and record
Yeah.
in Seattle, but it's just so much money to go out.
Yeah,
sure,
it's,
yeah.
We wanted to, but and then we were thinking about bringing him here.
Yeah.
It'd probably be cheaper.
It'd be cheaper to bring him here. I
For
mean,
sure.
I don't know if he'd ever be interested in something like. He's very, very busy. But it's weird when you call him up and he's with Barrett Martin, or someone famous.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
That is
But I've
cool.
been very blessed. I have a lot of contacts. I met Don Was for a number of days. My wife spent like a week with him at Skidmore. Got to hang out with him. I got to
What's funny is the name, because I remember when he had that band.
was not was or
Was not was.
right, the 80s.
And, yeah. And it literally just dawned on me that's why it had the not was next to it, is because people pronounce his name wrong.
right,
That literally
exactly.
just hit me
Right.
right this fucking second. I'm like,
Right,
awesome.
another wonderful guy, really great guy though,
Wow.
working with the Stones and everything. I mean, he's really cool. And then I got to jam with Max Weinberg.
Really?
Yeah, fronted his band with the Weaklings.
And for those that don't know, I mean, obviously, like some people would know what was he on Conan?
He was on Conan.
But
Yep.
he's part of the E Street Band.
He's the drummer for Bruce Springsteen.
And his son just left, but his son was the drummer for Slipknot,
yeah.
for a period of time. Yeah.
So that was cool. So through my contracts, I've been able to, do pretty well, meet some people. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Well, now I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I met
Yeah.
William
Yeah.
Deuel. So
Not many people
you
say
guys.
that. It's usually a different reaction.
So at this point, we've been talking about the songs and certainly the accolades they've gotten and the notice they've gotten. We should probably hear one of them, right?
Sure.
Which one do you want to play?
This is our new single. It's called "Carry Us On."
Carry us on. You
Yeah.
want to tell the folks a little bit about it?
It's just a feel-good kind of song for a change. It's about feeling good about the future and nothing but positive vibes moving forward kind of thing. I've had a lot of my songs they don't sound it, but they're a little bit dark.
They're a little bit dark.
Yeah. I write
It's
best
good
when
contrast.
when I'm manic, quite frankly. I write best like if something's upset me.
Right.
That's when I write. When things are going well, I don't write worth a damn.
Yep.
But piss me off or make me upset, I'll start writing.
Yeah.
And because that's what I love to do. So, that's "Carry Us On" is just a song that's, instead of being down here, is a little more uplifting, and people really seem to like it. We've done really. I mean, I don't do a lot of promotional work for Spotify or on social media. I'm an old guy and I don't know how to do half of it. I screw half of it up. But this song, we went from having like 40 people follow us monthly to listeners to it's almost to 800.
Yeah, it was 6 something,
It
and
was
then it was
748 last time I looked.
Then it went up.
It's just like if you look at the graph, it's like and it goes straight up. So we hit something with it. It's not a real complicated song. Chris could tell you more about the song because he mixed it and recorded it. So I always kind of defer to him when it comes to the musical. Both of these guys. I'm not trained. I'm not half the chords that I play. I don't even know what they are. I know what they sound like. I'm not.
No, I get it.
You know, I've never been taught by anybody. Nobody's ever showed me anything. So I just go by ear and try and figure it out. But these, mainly Chris and Bernie, is much better than I am from a technical aspect, so he could tell you more about.
Yeah, you'd like it. It's a straight 80s car sort of.
Yeah, carry us on.
Yeah. It's got
like
that
Nirvana.
It's got that
bridge.
very clean. Yeah, it's a cool song to play.
Cool. All right, well, let's check it out. It's Carry Us On, William Deuel Band, and then we'll be right back.
I can't decide. Oh, baby, am I happy or just out of my mind? Every once in a while, I've got a good excuse, in my back pocket. Let the north wind blow us away, yeah, baby. Like the Gulf Stream on its way, yeah, carry us on. I can't decide all the things I love, baby, right on time. Oh, don't you know this is everything I was hoping for? Let the north wind blow us away, yeah, baby. Like the Gulf Stream on its way, yeah, carry us on. Yeah, carry us on. Where we'll end up, yeah, nobody knows. Giving the prizes, baby, now, baby, to show. Don't you know that? Oh, I can't decide all the things I love, baby, right on time. Oh, don't you know this is everything I was hoping for? Let the north wind blow us away, yeah, baby. Like the Gulf Stream on its way, yeah, carry us on. Yeah, carry us on.
So that was Carry Us On, William Deuel Band, and that one is currently out and available as a single, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And that is going to be on a record that's coming out
in the
soonish.
fall, or I'd say late fall.
Okay, and that there's other songs, obviously. Like, basically, how far along is that album?
We've got 3 songs in the can now. And we're taking the entire month of August off.
Nice.
It's for family and catching up, and it's hot, and nobody wants to do anything. You can't get anyone to show up to anything. So we just made a decision of Bernie's going to Spain.
Yeah, I'm going on vacation finally, taking some time off.
Yeah, and Chris has always got a million things to do with mixing and things like that.
Well, we've played all the songs, I think, at open mics and stuff. I think.
Yeah, we have.
At least once.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Everything's there. The music's done. Like, we've recorded parts of it. And
we have a couple more to go that we like My Oh My. We have a song called My Oh My that we still have to record. And we've been rehearsing it, and that's basically what we've been doing is working on studio stuff.
Right.
It works into our time frame.
Yep.
We practice every week. not necessarily for gigs, but to work through our songs that we want to put on the record. You know what I mean? Like, you know how they change. You know,
Yeah.
oh, that worked.
Yeah,
You know, oh, that didn't work. You know,
Or like, you know, if you started out with like an acoustic guitar, just getting like some chord structure, and then you bring other people in, they're like, well, what if we did this instead? And you're
Well,
like, that sounds like, you know,
we
like,
get a
they
lot
change,
of that.
you know?
We
Yeah.
get a lot.
It's,
Try this tuning.
Chris always has a look of like, this needs something else.
Yeah,
And
and it
they're like,
gets
all
it,
right.
and that's
Yeah.
and it's awesome that he's got that ear to do that because I don't.
And so when, you know, you were saying like it started out, William, just you were writing the songs, and like now that, you know, you're a band, like has that how has that changed the songwriting?
I still bring the songs to the band, but they're free to play whatever they want to play.
Okay.
It's not. I don't come in and say, "Oh, it goes like." It's more of a framework, I think, and everybody just kind of does their thing, and that's why we practice so much. It's just on pace and little licks and things like that, and just working those things out. How many songs have you put out where 2 years later you go, oh God, I wish we had just stopped there. We should have stopped that, you know, or done that. And
That's a hard thing, like with songwriting, to be like, all right, it's done. You know, now
Right.
move on to something else.
Right.
you know?
I'm pretty good with that, though. Chris will tell you, when I think it's done, I'll say, I think it's done.
Yeah, in a general sense, I'd say grass doesn't grow under Bill's feet. So, like, when here's this. All right, that's that. Next tune.
Here's
good.
a
You
new
know,
one I just wrote
yeah,
2 days ago.
I think, stuff just goes. So that's great. Gravel Road is a song that now I think sounds much more kind of blues bar kind of, I don't know, just a little more rock and a little more edgy. But that came out on the first record and was much more laid back, much more like, I don't know, kind of yacht rock's probably not the right term at all. But like, it was way more. It was back, you know. It was way more subdued, and now it's much more like yow.
Yeah, those are the changes that we do, like during rehearsals and stuff. Is we play different tempos, we play some harder, because a lot of and this is like the hard part being a 3-piece, is a lot of what Bill does is on the albums is going to be acoustic layering and all sorts of stuff and leads and stuff. But as a 3-piece, we have to simplify it. And so a lot of times then it becomes a little bit harder, a little bit more aggressive to try and fill in all that space, which is fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. But if you're listening to the album and you go see it live, it's like,
It's hard to cover all that.
But, you know, I always like, because I'm the same way, like, you know, I'm 51 now, and like our band started when I was 47 or 48. So like that's when like was the first original band that I was in. And when we first started recording, I was like, you know, it's very important that like what we put down can be emulated live.
Yep.
And our producer would basically explain like, no, like that's not how this works.
Yeah.
Like he
Right.
was like, you know, the recording is, you know, a structured, composed, layered thing that you take your time with and you fill in. You know, playing live is something different, and if they don't necessarily match, then it's not that, you know, it's
unless
not
you're
the end of the
Elton
world.
John, you can put 80 people on the stage to do
Right.
everything.
Right. Or like even like in our song, you know, it's a first song was a 3-chord song, but like the tambourines and the hand claps and like oohs and ahs and layer and shit that you don't even think of it. He called it the salt and pepper.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, the salt and pepper stuff. That's what makes you know. So like it is interesting thinking of that. Like we're a 3-piece, but when you're in the studio, you can be a 80-piece if you wanted to. You know,
well,
like,
and a lot of times we do layer a lot of guitars, you know, and you want to fill that sound and get it for that radio or Spotify or listener to have that. That's what we strive for. That's what I think right now where we are right now is we strive for the best studio sound we can get and to do these songs as well as we can do them.
it's like a movie and a play. You know, like a play, you have the limitations of this is what we have.
Right.
You know, we're live, we're in front of an audience, we have this. But the movie, you can take several takes and you can pick the perfect one.
Right.
And you can, you know.
Right. And you know, and you hear all the differences of tape to Pro Tools.
Right.
You know, and I think that Pro Tools takes a big hit sometimes because it does enable you to go and do it right.
Or to like be like, oh, that take was really good except for that one
Right.
word. That
Right.
one word
You
was a
coughed at
little
the
wrong.
end or something.
I
Yeah, yeah.
fucking on one of our songs, I literally filled in a word over the phone. I got a phone call from the producer, and I was here, and he was like, listen, like as I'm going through, he's like, just you kind of slur, like it sounded a little like it wasn't sharp, it wasn't enunciated. Can you just say the word don't? And he goes, just say it now. And then I go, don't. And he goes, perfect.
Right. See ya. Bye.
Bye. And he spliced that into the song. And I was like, what?
He's not having to cut any tape.
Right,
Or, you know,
right.
so.
And back when, cut and paste literally meant, like when I was in radio, and when I first started radio, like to edit commercials, it was a razor blade and a reel-to-reel tape. Like you had to literally cut.
So you know how to do it then.
I do know how to,
Not many people do.
Yeah, there's no reason to anymore.
Right.
But
Right.
but it made, when the switch to digital happened, I was like a whiz at it immediately, because I'm like, oh, this is, I don't have to be physically nimble. I can just press this button and do it. And if I fuck up, I don't have to break up the Scotch tape. And you know what I mean? I can just hit Control Z and it's gone.
Right.
Like,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a nice. I enjoy having it. I mean, there's an aspect of the old school stuff that I did initially, I think, come in with. I wanted to do everything live. I didn't want anything overdubbed, and Chris is like, wait a minute, that's not how this goes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I'm coming from like being a garage band. I mean, we literally played in garages.
You're literally in a garage right now.
Right. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I lived part of the term growing up.
Yeah,
The
we're the
80s.
same way. Like we focus very much on like our live thing.
Yeah.
Like, but the studio's a different beast.
It is.
It
And
is.
like you have to like leave it to the professionals or the people that when you're in their realm.
Well, I try to do that. I'm not trying to do it myself.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? We're using the best people we
if
can.
I had to do it ourselves, holy shit.
Mixing might be a little off, right? What's this in my right ear that's pounding?
I wouldn't even know where to begin. I'm just like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I do run into that a lot with clients in a general sense. Like you get somebody coming into the studio that talks a lot about being true and real, and that everything that recorded audio has come to be as like an affront to their sensibilities, because it's a lie, and I'm like, okay. And then 9 times out of 10, maybe 9.9 times out of 10, we do what they want.
Yeah.
They listen back and they're like, why is it so
Thin,
weak?
weak.
Like I'm like,
It's because you made the decision.
yeah, it's like I can press the space bar and make it go, but like this is what you put in. Like, do you want some suggestions? Like, what are you going for? What are you trying to sound like?
Right.
And, like, I want so and so with this, and oftentimes I'm familiar with the record and the process of it, and I'm like, yeah, you aren't even close. Like, you don't know how much falsehood is in the truth that you are
Right.
referencing,
Right.
and you can look at it that way and get kind of kicking the dirt and depressive about it, but or it's a how long, how many times did Da Vinci like paint over something to fix a little, like it's different. It's a moment that is there for all time in one way. Live performance is not. Live performance is seat of your pants right this second, and in 5 minutes you can play the same song again, but it's not going to be the same moment.
Right.
So those are inherently two different things, and people, I think, make the mistake of equating them to be
I
synonymous.
100% made that mistake.
Yeah, I did
I
too.
did.
Well, I did too, and there's even sometimes like a song that he'll start on guitar now, and I'm like, I think the drums start that one, and I'm like, that doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't. It's not. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't
Because right now, this is how it starts.
Yeah.
You know?
Recorded music is a lie.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Right,
Like
right.
the first time I learned about like doubling guitars, I'm like, holy shit. Oh,
Yeah.
that's how
Or
you get
doubling
that
vocals too.
Yeah.
you get that sound. And then once you learn it and you start to hear it and you listen, even back in the Beatles, like they harmonized everything. Like
Well, they doubled all John Lennon's.
oh yeah, like
vocals,
and then you can hear it and you're like, oh, I see why his voice is so ridiculously
'cause
thick.
there's 7
'Cause,
of them. You know?
I saw where Butch Vig was always arguing with Cobain.
Yeah.
He didn't
'Cause
want
he
to
didn't
double
want it, right.
anything.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, John Lennon did it. I think John Lennon did it.
And he's like,
He
"All
would just go
right."
do.
And they used Dave Grohl to double a lot of the
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yes,
vocals
yeah,
back
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
early
It's
days.
just
Yeah.
the way it works. It's what
Yeah.
you hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
It is, and some like my voice lends itself, I think, well to doubling.
Yeah.
But I generally can sing the same thing twice.
Right.
You know, like where some people struggle. I could be.
No, yeah, because if you
repetitive.
double and it's the exact same thing, then it's not going to work as well. Like the doubling has to have like a
little
slight
bit, yeah.
nuance in
The
order to
human
like fill
differences.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah.
So anyway, we should probably play another tune. So
Okay.
what song are we going to play now?
We'll play the single that was before this single called "Holding On," "Holding On,"
Holding on.
and that was the first song we had Jack Andino do for us.
Nice.
So he did that one, and he just did "Carry Us On," and he will do the EP or LP as well when Chris is done doing his stuff.
Nice. And so this one's out. And
This is out. This is out about 6 months ago.
Sweet.
You know, so I was going to put that on this record as well. Jack Andino actually wanted me to, but it's from a different year, and I just might leave it alone. You know, I
Leave it as a
hadn't even
single.
talked to these guys. You know, that might be on it too at the end. We might just only because CDs, even though they're out of stock, they're permanent.
Yeah.
You know, what I mean, I heard this the other
Tangible.
day. Yeah, well, you could. It's a something for safekeeping. Who was it? It was Billy Corrigan.
Mm-hmm.
It was saying, yeah, I still make records and CDs because I have them.
Right.
He's like, those files could disappear tomorrow. He goes, on anyone's computer or whatever, they're not necessarily permanent. So if you want a permanent record of what you've done, you put it on something.
Yeah.
You know,
Physical.
So, right, and you know that was my logic on. I don't know. A whole separate subject.
Yeah.
I like putting out records, but what's the sense?
Right.
That you submit them one song at a time as singles to radio stations or wherever it's going to go.
And they go in playlists anyways.
Yeah, and it's presented as a single. So we're making these LPs, but we're releasing them as singles anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just the way, sometimes just it's
we're
like,
just old. I'm just
it's like
old.
instinct.
I like
you
the
know
cover.
what
I
mean?
like the credits
Yeah.
on the back. You know.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know.
ours that we're coming out with, there's no reason to do it, but I'm like, I kind of want to do a small run of CDs.
Yeah,
like, I
get
wanna
100
make,
of them. And
I want to make artwork.
Get
I
some
wanna
artwork
put
Right.
liner
and-
notes.
yeah.
I want to like,
It's just fun. You got it in your hand, and you're
Yeah.
like, there it is.
tangible.
And like I listen, like I don't listen to play. I listen to albums still. Like
I mean,
if I'm
I've
gonna
got
put on a
full
song, I'm
vinyl
like,
collection that I still buy new. I buy current shit
Yeah.
on vinyl. And
yeah,
listen
and
to
you
it.
listen to it like it's a cohesive.
I wish it wasn't so
thing.
expensive to do. We
Me
we
too.
try
Fucking
some.
records
Yeah.
are $30 a piece
Yeah.
for like.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
that's a lot.
It's good
man.
for merch though. Even all the big bands are doing records now with custom coloring and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Hell yeah!
Yeah, because it's
I
you
got a
can
couple variants.
you can upsell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Well, what was the name of the song?
Holding on.
Holding on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's listen to Holding On, William Deuel Band. We'll be right back to wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm just sitting down by the river, yeah, watching it pass by. Taking in, yeah, just another old memory. Oh, I'm sitting, yeah, staring at the mountains as far as I could see. The leaves are changing, bringing out the best in me. Am I holding on? Life, it sure is changing. But sometimes I can't take it. Feels like I'm holding back. Am I holding on? Am I holding on? Yeah, there's something to it. I'll dare to tell you now, baby, what's right and wrong. Who has time to figure it all out anyway? Oh, I'm still healing, not quite believing that yesterday's really gone. I always seem to be looking back now anyway. Am I holding on? Life, it sure is changing. Sometimes I can't take it. It feels like I'm holding it back. Am I holding on?
That was Holding On, William Deuel Band. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day and coming out here and talking to me. Really appreciate it. And before we go, like I do with all my guests, I just want to give you a chance to each say your gratitude. So microphone's all yours.
I will definitely thank my wife and my kids for supporting me, listening to lots of loud noises, and as my kids call it, the beeble-de-boop, and and all the other random stuff I play and practice.
When you're not around.
Yeah, no, they call it right to my face. They're like, oh, you're playing beeble-de-boop again. All right, yeah, sure. So yeah, definitely my wife. She has supported me through lots of random music stuff. She's actually done a little bit of vocals on some of my really old stuff. And then my really good friends, brothers from another mother, Keith and Chris. We were in a band together. I played drums, or Chris played drums on some of my stuff, and we played for years and years. And those guys were huge influences on my life, getting me to where I am. So for sure, those guys, love them.
I want to thank these guys to start off with, the guys in my band, for tolerating me and my crazy thoughts and everything else. My wife as well. My wife has sung background vocals, excellent background vocals, on one of our best songs called Can't Wait on Sunday. Mm-hmm. But she's very shy and she won't get up in front of people.
Someday.
Maybe someday she'll do it. So, but she also helps me with everything from copywriting to ISRC numbers to the covers to the credits. Takes pictures for the album covers.
The covers are great. She does it. They're fantastic.
And and she's very artistic, and she's got a wonderful ear for music, and she can sit there and critique us we look to her in the studio. She'll be there in the studio, and we will say, "What do you think, Michelle?" And she's pretty.
She has no problem calling bullshit.
Yeah, right. Exactly. She's as quiet person, but exactly. And then I want to thank my friend Mike Norris from Boston, who was in my high school band, who played on Gravel Road and a few other songs for me. Excellent guitarist. One of my closest friends, just an excellent guy. A shout out to him. A shout out, obviously, to Jason Brown for doing some of my mastering and playing bass on some of my records before. Jack Andino for actually messing with a band like ours and giving us just a little something. It's great working with someone like that actually approves of what you're doing. Right. It means a lot to me. And so, and then just the people in general that are out there that listen to our music.
Yeah,
sure. I mean, I know we're a throwback to the 90s, or I might be a throwback to the 70s. Older, but people seem to like it. A little bit. It's rock and roll, and we thank everybody for listening to it. So, and thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you stole my thunder. I was going to thank you for having us on. That's wonderful. Also, I'm married too. So my wife and I met at college, actually, and she moved out to Providence, Rhode Island with my first band and helped us split the rent 5 ways instead of just 4, and has endured some real garbage for a long time, like the 2000s onward. So that's been great, and sounds a little bit childish maybe, but my parents, when I came back to the Glens Falls area where I grew up, after some stuff didn't work out the way I thought with the Providence band, I was like, look, I'd really like to open a studio, and they happened to be renovating an old flower shop where I had bought my prom flowers, and it was just a rundown shack, and they're trying to just make a little income property out of it. And my mother's like, absolutely not. And my father's like, well, I mean, what can you afford to pay? You know? Yeah, but they bothered to listen to my plea, and that was in 2006 or so, and in 2007 we opened, and it's getting up near 20 years, and who can have a recording studio that long these days, So that was taking a chance, and I appreciate that.
All right. So they are the William Deuel Band. I am Andy Scullin. This is Unsigned518. I'll see you on the road. Unsigned518 is produced and hosted by me, Andy Scullin. New episodes are available every week wherever you stream podcasts. If you would like to help support the show, please like and subscribe wherever you are listening. Or you could buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/unsigned518. If you would like to advertise on the show, send me an email at unsigned518@gmail.com. And to be a guest on the show, reach out to me through Instagram at unsigned518. Take care of one another, and I'll see you next week.